And hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Pumpkin Copter Cast, the only video game show. And, just a heads up for the listeners, today's episode is going to be a wee bit different than some of the previous ones last year because, well, it's going to go. It is going to be, talking about, a real life serious topic from back in the day, and which is connected to a real life very serious topic happening now. So just a heads up, so you know what you're getting into. I am here with Rasheed, and today we are going to be talking about his currently being crowd funded game Dreams on a Pillow.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And yes, how about we start with you, Rasheed, introducing yourself to the listeners.
Yeah, my name is Rasheed. I'm a Palestinian. I live in Palestine, and I'm a game designer. I made a game in 2016 called Layla and the Shadows of War, which was a game about the attacks on Gaza at that time.
Mm-hmm.
It was at that time it, it got banned a little bit for being talking about the Palestinian story on the App Store, and they did not want to release it as a game on their store, and they wanted to make it like as a book or a reference. But after that, there was like a huge campaign against that decision, and they revoked their decision and put it back on the App Store as a game. And since that day, I was working on different things, but I was working on this game for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and I've decided to go with crowdfunding this game right now.
Okay. And Rashid, when did you first discover video games as a medium of entertainment?
At a young age, it's a very fun entertainment medium for everyone. So at a very young age, I was somehow obsessed about games.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but after that, like I studied computer engineering, and I learned how to write code. And maybe in 2009, 2010, when there was more frameworks that make gaming or making game accessible for everyone, I started playing with these tools and learned how to write code or how to develop um, games. And then I started to learn how to design games because they are two different things.
Okay. And what would you say was your favorite game and or games growing up?
Um, at that time, that was um, at a very young age, we were playing a lot of Mario and Space Invaders and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then we shifted to play more of strategic game. I like RTS games a lot. And then my perspective shifted more toward any game that has a rich story.
Mm-hmm.
So nowadays I like games that has more content of developing like stories in an entertaining way. It's um, because games are more engaging medium than any other medium,
Mm-hmm.
so they can touch many things in you as a human being.
Okay. And now, what would you say is your favorite game and or games now?
Uh, hmm, this is a tough question. You like a new game or like an old game,
Um, Either
or
or.
doesn't matter?
A game that you've been playing in the present time that you may or may not have played, back when you first started playing games.
Yeah, these days I don't play a lot of games, but I try to at least understand games more, uh, or at least because like you need a lot of time to play all of these coming games. But whenever there is a new game that has a new concept that you try to play. But for me, I like um, games like Limbo and Inside, and things like Oxenfree. Uh, these type of games that has some I don't know. I like them because some of them have stories and some of them have hidden stories. So I like mystery in games.
Okay. And Rasheed, if you had a booth at some sort of gaming convention, like what would be like the pitch you would give to like a passersby to like get them interested in checking out the game?
The Dreams on a Pillow.
Yeah.
Ah, I guess it's a kind of for me it's an emotional story about the ethnic cleansing of Palestine
Mm-hmm.
back in 1948. This is kind of the line that I could use, because if you care about this, that like, and if you care about stories in game, that will catch you.
Okay. And now, like for the creation of this game, was there a specific event that caused it, or would you say it's more like a cumulative number of events that have occurred over the years that caused you to get the idea to make this game?
So the idea of this game was started with me in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's kind of 8 years old almost, and I was trying by myself because the first game that I made, Layla and the Shadows of War, I did it with an artist and animator, and we all were working as volunteers on that game. We didn't have funding for that, and uh, I was trying in the same approach with this game, but every time I got stuck because we needed funding for it, and we don't have funding, and it's not accessible for us to go um, to pitch that game and to show that story for for everyone. So like I worked many I tried many times, then I fail, and life gets you away from those things because you need to sustain your life, and you need an income stream for you and for your family. So it was kind of impossible to do that in the same way because it's also a huge project. Um, it's not like the first game. The first game, the gameplay is around 20 minutes, and it took us like 2 years to develop it because we were working on our free time. So if I wanted to do this in the same approach, it will be impossible to do. So I almost like I tried many times, but I couldn't like actually do it. But when the war, like the attacks started again on Gaza, I found myself in a situation that I have to do it. It's not something that I can choose not to do, because it's kind of a duty on me.
Mm-hmm.
Because nowadays I see how the mainstream media is dealing with the situation, and how they are hiding the story of Palestine, and how they are making like a certain date that to show that it's the start of history, but they are forgetting about what really happened in Palestine before. So it comes from like, I feel that it's something that I have to do, and I don't have an option to not do it. Actually, I felt that the responsibility on me to do this, and I started working on it again, and I contacted many of my friends in the gaming industry. Um, I started working with Rami Ismail. He was very supportive. He was giving advices all around, like everything. And we worked. I also worked with many artists, and I have another friend, Samir Abbas. He's working with me as a producer. And we reached a point that this game has like a complete roadmap with the story, the art style, the gameplay, the mechanics, everything in shape. And we reached a point that we have to contact publishers, but we didn't have much luck, because it's kind of the story that it's not a popular thing that to show through publishers.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to crowdfunding.
Okay. And like when the game is like fully crowdfunded and released for the world to buy and experience, like what sort of game will it be? Like what sort of experience is it going to be like when people are able to get their hands on it?
So it's kind of an I focus a lot about making it an emotional, and
Mm-hmm.
to make the gameplay and the mechanics hidden inside it, and to make the mechanics go with the story. So it's kind of that's the problem always with story-driven games, is to make the mechanics support the story, and the story help in the mechanics. So this is the kind of the thing that I'm thinking of, to make it like a complete harmony between both of these two elements in the game itself. So it will have uh, like an element of exploration, and some puzzle solving and stealth element, including in injecting in the story in a way that is um, not annoying, or not like forced on the player. Sometimes you find the story is odd from the gameplay itself. So this is what I'm trying to blend everything together, and to make it like more of getting the players attached to the character itself, and to the theme of the game, and forget about the playing experience, and getting more attached with the emotions in the game.
Okay.
I don't know if that answers your question.
That's fine. I mean, it reminds me that it just calls to mind some other games I've played that are like based either partially or like completely on um, like real life events. Like this is based off of a real tragedy that happened many years ago. Like when I started thinking about games that are like you said, emotional story driven games like based off of real events, it reminds me just in terms of like what it's setting out to do. There's a game I played a while ago called That Dragon Cancer, in which
Mm-hmm.
a man, husband and wife game dev team made a point and a sort of point and click ish type game about their losing their youngest child to like a terminal illness, and like having spoken to many other different kinds of developers between then and now, like I've learned that like a lot more developers than I thought will incorporate like real life impactful events into their like creative works. And so yes, I think I understand like the general gist of what type of game this will be once it's out and about. And yeah, so provided the crowdfunding like continues at like the current trajectory of success, because at time of recording of the 194,800, well, in like US goal, it's about just hairs beneath like under 60,000. So provided it continues that current trajectory of like successful funding, like how long will it have taken from idea to finished product to have made?
So the roadmap for this game is around 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So we're aiming to release it in 2026 quarter four. If we succeeded, we are on almost 30% of our goal.
All right. And are there like are there any games you've played or any like colleagues in the game development space, have any of their games like influenced the direction that you'll take Dreams on a Pillow, like as you like continue to develop it?
Many of the inspiration for this game is coming from outside of the gaming industry,
Mm-hmm.
especially on the story itself.
Mm-hmm.
So from traditional books or novels about the Nakba during that time, for Ghassan Kanafani, for example, is a Palestinian writer, and many of the historical events and um, uh, the documented eyewitnesses of the Nakba itself. So we're getting all of these story elements to be injected in the game itself, and they shape how the game will um, will look like. Because I wanted to blend all of that in a gameplay that does not look weird,
Mm-hmm.
and moves with line in line with the story. So we depend on a lot of these things, a lot of these stories that are coming from our history, and we try to put them in the game itself. So if we talk about like inspiration from the gaming, there is for example the navigation of the game, and how the player is moving. It, it's kind like Oxenfree style, The puzzle and the mechanics, I always look at Limbo and Inside and these kind of games that has puzzle elements and stealth. So, and about emotional games, maybe like an old game called Baba and You. Not sorry, forget about what's called.
Papa EO.
Yeah. I kind of forget the name of the game, but it's about a child who like remember his father, and his father like is going like he's when he gets drunk, he turns into a green monster.
Yeah, that's I remember when that first. Yeah, that's Papa EO.
But yeah,
Okay, and and like, what platforms do you intend to release the game on once with the funding and the total development time is all done?
so we're going PC first,
Mm-hmm.
and we're also trying to go to launch it on different consoles, on PlayStation and Xbox, and also on mobile. But the first thing that we are going to ship is the PC version.
Okay, and yeah, like, what would you suggest to like other game developers if they wanted to, make a game that's like based off of like a real life historical event like this one? Like, what sort of advice would you like give them?
Um, so I think if anyone wants to make a game uh, about a personal experience, it should come from the heart. So you should think first of uh, not of the mechanics of the game. I think you should think first of the feelings in the game. And when you have these feelings that you want your game to include, you can build your mechanics that um, give that the players those feelings. So because it's an the element that you want the players to experience more. So don't jump from the mechanics, but start back from the feelings that you want in the game. This is if you are going to build a personal experience or something that is has meaning for you. I don't say like if you are going with the mechanic first that does not have a feeling, but you don't know what the feeling will come because you are not building based on those. So whenever you are working with a personal experience and things like that and story element, it's more about the story and how the players will like uh, consume that story and how this will resonate with them. So you want to make it more from your heart and to focus on that element more than any other element.
All right then. You heard it here first, and and before we I'll start to wrap things up, Rasheed. One question, which is totally understandable, and all my past guests have always been able to understand perfectly. And makes total sense if you think about it. and this is not sarcasm, in your opinion, is video games? Mm-hmm.
Can you repeat the question?
There we go. My computer works. In your opinion, Rasheed, is video games? Yeah. If it sounds like a confusing question, it is.
Well, again, I didn't get your question.
Oh, is video games those two words?
Is video games what? Like
Exactly.
that's very weird question. So
Yes, it is.
so is it a question or a sentence that I should fill? Like
Well, in years past, I found out it works a lot like the Rorschach inkblot tests, where the answer where, people fill in the blanks and it tells you a lot more about them than like a scripted question.
yeah, I guess if you want me to describe video games, if this is like what you want from your question, for me personally, is my my tool or my weapon uh, to share stories that could make an impact and could change perspective of people.
Okay, then. And, the very last thing before we wrap things up is a little game I usually play at the beginning with the guests, but considering the game and the subject matter, I thought it best to save it for the end. We are going to play a favorite game of mine called Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Dark Souls. And
Mhm.
how this game works is if there's one thing like the Dark Souls games and Yu-Gi-Oh games have in common is that they have names that, even in the context of a fantasy work sound like a lot of nonsense. So, Rashid, what we are going to do is I'm going to list three characters, and you're going to guess whether they are from the Dark Souls slash Bloodborne slash Elden Ring or Yu-Gi-Oh, game in which people solve any and all of their problems with card games. So, yeah, we will start with the first one. Our first guess is Zushin the Sleeping Giant, Rashid. Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Dark Souls?
Dark Souls.
Incorrect. It is from Yu-Gi-Oh! A card that even people who understand the sort of overly complicatedness that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is would be like, that's too much. So, let's see. Next. Let's see. The next guess will be. Let's see. Moonlight Butterfly. Yu Gi Oh! Or Dark Souls?
Ah, I don't know. So let's say Yu-Gi-Oh.
Nope, it is a boss from the original Dark Souls game. Let's see.
I never played Dark Souls. I'm sorry.
It's fine. And last one. It's a what's a mouthful of a name? Oh gosh, I cannot even pronounce some of these. Let's see. Godric the Grafted, Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Dark Souls?
That sounds like a Dark Souls.
That is correct. It was from Elden Ring, which is from FromSoft, which is Dark Souls. So, yeah, 1 out of 3. That's probably better than I would do if I was the one playing this game. So, yeah, what? Wrong page. So, yeah, that will bring us to the conclusion of this particular episode of the Pumpkin Copter Cast. I would like to thank my guest Rasheed for joining me and talking about this game. And if you've been listening to this conversation and Dreams on a Pillow sounds like the sort of game you would like to both fund and experience one day, you can go to launchgood.com, where the campaign is currently underway with 44 days left. Yeah, if that sounds like your kind of thing, then by all means, go and fund it. And let's see, and Rasheed, you also mentioned Lila and the Shadows of War. Where could someone find that if they're interested?
Yeah, it's you can find it on itch.io or Google Play and the App Store.
Uh, yeah, that is right. And yeah, that brings us to the conclusion of this episode. Thank you, Rasheed, for joining me and talking about this game. And I hope it goes well. And when it comes out in 2026, as you say, I look forward to playing it.
Thank you for having me, and appreciate your support.
You're welcome. And as I say at the end of every episode, have a gourd day, everyone.